Hello everyone. In the present video, I will discuss about the Clifford Geertz concept of thick description and his understanding of interpretive theory of culture. So particularly I will focus on the basic understanding of thick description and his idea of the interpretive theory of culture. What is this thick description? Thick description Geertz basically borrowed from the philosopher Gilbert Ryle, and this thick description is a concept used for developing interpretive anthropology. So Clifford Geertz basically propounded or promoted or developed the interpretive anthropology by following Weber's Busterhan or Weber's interpretive sociology. Geertz believes that the task or objective of anthropology is not just for understanding, not just for describing a particular place or a particular society or a particular community. Rather, focus should be on exploring the meaning. So Geertz believes that the research which should not be experimental for description only, it should be interpretive in nature to explore the meaning. So in this way, in this context, Geertz tried to develop interpretive anthropology, and he also pointed out that just like science, which has a way of practicing science or practicing its research, anthropology has also a way of doing, a way of practicing anthropology. So what is this way? This is the ethnography. So ethnography is the way of practicing anthropology. So Geertz here tried to develop interpretive ethnography. So in order to develop interpretive ethnography and interpretive anthropology, Geertz used the term thick description from Gilbert Ryle. And in his description, in his analysis, in his works, Geertz also tried to develop an interpretive theory of culture, like how culture can be understood through interpretive methodology or interpretive approach. Now all these things we will discuss. First I shall explain what is this thick description. So Gilbert Ryle used this thick description against thin description. So in order to understand thick description and thin description, we have to use the examples which also analyzed by Gilbert Ryle and then Geertz. What is this example? Example is a boy's particular behavior, that is the behavior of a boy. What kind of behavior? The behavior is wink and twitch. That is a boy's eyelids closes in a particular way, and this particular way can be termed as wink and twitch. So when we describe these two particular behavior as a closing of eyelid for some external factor, it is called as thin description, that a boy's eyelids closed because of some external factor or reason. But Ryle here believes there is a purpose, there is a distinction between twitch and wink. distinction in terms of meaning, and this meaning and distinction must be interpreted. So how to interpret? According to Ryle, the wink has a meaning. The wink is purposeful. That is, a boy winked, it has a purpose, it has a meaning, and he is communicating with another person. He is symbolically communicating with another person through winking. He may also give certain kind of signal through the winking, but which may be because of any other external factors, and which is basically involuntary, not voluntarily, not intentionally the person has done the or done this twitch. The twitch is basically involuntary. So there is a distinction between twitch and winking. So winking has a meaning according to Ryle, and this interpretation of the meaning needs the societal context, because it is also necessary to understand how to do wink and where to do wink, why to do wink, and what is the meaning, whether other person is also getting the meaning, and what is the social symbols, or what is the code, social codes in this particular context. So it is very important to explore the meanings of the wink. The person who are using the winks are also familiar with the social code, the symbols, and they are able to communicate. So it is the responsibility of the anthropologist to understand the behavior, action of the individuals, actions of the people from their context, from their viewpoint. That is how they are doing it, why they are doing it, and in what context they are doing it. So this particular concept of thick description Geertz used in his ethnography or in his interpretive understanding of ethnography. In the interpretive ethnography, Geertz believes that thick description will allow the ethnographers and anthropologists to explore to reveal the social meanings attached with the various actions and behavior and various activities. Ethnographer is not just for reporting, writing and describing the situation as it is. Rather, there may be the interpretation of the meanings of the individual's actions, individual's interactions, individual's life in the society. So thick description is basically opposite to thin description. So thick description is interpretive one. So this particular concept of Ryle, that is thick description, is used by Geertz in his interpretive ethnography, and his interpretive ethnography may develop interpretive anthropology. So in other words, we can say that this interpretive ethnography is opposite to the conventional ethnography, which merely focuses on the participation, reporting and writing through descriptive mechanism and model. But here interpretive ethnography focuses on the meanings attached with the various social activities, social relations, actions of the peoples and the events, phenomena. Then the discourses, social structure and the development of the discourse in a particular society, in a particular setting. So here the interpretive ethnography goes for mainly understanding or exploring the meaning attached with it, the structural underlying meaning attached with any society, social phenomena or social issue. Now with this concept, that is thick description and interpretive ethnography and interpretive ethnography, Geertz tried to develop interpretive theory of culture. So here culture, according to Geertz, is the social structural aspect. Culture is not something given. Culture is not something a cognitive process in the mind. Culture is not something, an external factor that controls or regulates human behavior in the society. Rather, culture is social structural aspect, and this social structural aspect, this social structural element has a established meaning, and these meanings are expressed through various symbols and codes, and human beings shares these symbols, these codes, and they communicates, and they lives according to the cultural guidelines, cultural rules and regulations. So this interpretive theory of culture basically wanted to develop a cultural notion of the society. So this much is the present video. I will continue this discussion in the next video.